The Champaign Public Library, of course, has books, and they also have several upcoming events. Here today to share some book recommendations as well as event information is Nanette Donahue. Welcome to ciLiving.
Hi, thank you.
So I see that you've brought books, and I know that you've read all of these books.
Yes.
So can you tell me a little bit about each one?
Sure. I'm going to start with James by Percival Everett. This is a book that came out last year. It has been winning all of the awards, and it's just fantastic. It is a retelling of Huckleberry Finn from the perspective of James, who is the enslaved man who accompanies Huck on his journey down the river. If you have not read Huck Finn, or if you haven't read it in 30-some years, which is the case for me, it doesn't matter because it is a perfectly solid standalone book. But if you have read Huck Finn, it is such a rich reinterpretation of that text. I just think it is phenomenal. It's accessible, it's enjoyable, it's literary, it's just a great book. It deserves all of the awards that it's winning because it just really is that good.
And I'm glad that you said that you can either have read Huck Finn or not, because that was going to be my next question is, would you recommend, even if they maybe read it a long time ago, do you think it adds more value if they sort of read them both?
It could. I mean, it's been 30-some years since I read Huck Finn in high school, but I found that I was remembering a lot of the story beats as I made my way through through this book. It was like, oh yeah, I remember that happening when I read Huck Finn when I was a senior in high school.
Right. Yeah, I remember the painting fence trick. That's my biggest standout. What about this one?
This is There's Always This Year by Hanif Abdurraqib, and I love him as an author. He is just so fantastic. This is a book that's about basketball, but it's also about place. He is from Columbus, Ohio, and he has a very strong feeling about his home. And it's just beautiful to watch that shine throughout this book. Even if you are not a basketball fan, you will enjoy this. I'm a college basketball fan. I'm not so much a pro basketball fan, but I thought this was just phenomenal. And it's really a love letter to place. It's a love letter to family and to the people who sustain you, and to basketball. He is a poet as well, and you can feel that in the writing here. It's just a stunning book. I've suggested this to a couple of people. They both loved it, and I'm thrilled to suggest it to as many people as possible.
And so is this a fiction book, or is it not?
It's nonfiction.
Okay, it's nonfiction.
Yeah, it's a memoir, sort of.
Okay.
But it's an unusual memoir in that it's told through his fandom of basketball.
Nice. I'm going to have to read that book because I grew up in Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, yay!
So,
yeah, you'll love that.
That's very exciting. And what about this one?
This is Death of the Author by Nnedi Okorafor, and this is new. It came out a few weeks ago, and I expect to see this one on best of lists in December of this year. It is about an author named Zelu who is she is paraplegic. She's in a wheelchair, and her life is kind of falling apart around her. She wrote a novel that was a literary fiction novel. It didn't do particularly well, and since then she's been kind of writer's blocked. And then all of these things start to happen, and her life just collapses a bit around her. But she finds herself inspired, and she sits down and writes a science fiction novel. And that's not a genre she's ever written in before. But the book she writes is so phenomenal, it turns her into just a best-selling author. So this book is told in a really interesting way. Part of it is her telling her own story. Part of it is chapters from the novel that she wrote, and part of it is interviews with her family and loved ones about who she is.
Oh, interesting.
So it's really fascinating. This is a book you'll want to read with a friend because when you get to the ending, you will want to discuss it.
Okay, so this is kind of like a book club book. If you have a book club, this might be a selection that you want to go for. Well, speaking of book clubs, you have some events coming up at the library,
We do. We have a couple of book clubs that meet monthly. The Table Talk Book Club is the Douglas Branch Library's book club, and they meet on the second Tuesday of the month from 6:30 to 8. They are currently meeting at the main library due to some construction over at the branch, but will return to Douglas once that construction is over. Their current book is Mrs. Wiggins by Mary Monroe, and they will be meeting next week. There's still time to pick up a copy of the book and read it. You can also view their upcoming selections at our website, champaign.org/events. We also have a book club at the main library, and they meet from 1:30 to 2:30 on the second Thursday of the month. and they are reading Master, Slave, Husband, Wife by Ilyan Wu. And then in March, they're reading The Women by Kristen Hanna, which was a huge blockbuster bestseller. So I'm sure there are plenty of people who have already read it who might want to discuss it, and that book club is open to everyone.
Right, and that's great. You can either reread it and then discuss it, or if it's fresh for you, you can just go and join the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what other event do you have coming up?
This Sunday at 3 o'clock, we have our Art Connection opening reception. This is a partnership that the library's had with the Champaign Unit 4 schools for several years now, where we bring in, we work with art teachers to bring in student art to display at the library. So whenever we open a new exhibit, we have a little reception. There's cookies and lemonade, and you can meet the artists, meet the art teachers. It's a really great feel-good event. And then that art will be on display for several months in the library. It's on the first floor, and then on the lower level near the Friend Shop.
Okay. And then before we wrap up, have to talk about my favorite part of the Champaign Library, which is your maker space. Yes. That's also open on the weekends, because as a crafter, I love using your Cricut machines. Yay. But tell me what's down there so that everybody at home can learn.
Well, of course, we've got the Cricut where you can make t-shirts, mugs, stickers, all kinds of things. Cricuts are just wildly awesome. We also have the Glowforge, which is a laser cutter. You can do amazing things with the Glowforge. When I learned how to use it, it just like opened up a whole new world of things. We also have recording booths, large format printer, 3D printer, lots of really cool stuff, and we are here to help with it. You can book an appointment with a librarian if you want to learn how to use the equipment in the studio. And we also have a makerspace that will be opening at the Douglas Branch Library.
Oh, great.
That's the construction that's going on over there.
There you
is
go.
The construction on their new makerspace, which should be opening within the next several months.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for bringing these book recommendations and giving us all that information about the event.
Thank you.
And if you want more information, you can visit us on the web at ciLiving.tv after the show.